faded, my heart got me going all crazy, and I won't be walking away. Yeah, New York in the sunshine, I'm a fool, yeah. I got love light and ooh, yeah. Got my heart out and it's loaded in gold, like moonlight over Hollywood, and it's cool, yeah, 'cause you know it's good, oh baby, we'll never get old. You got it going on, I'll be there in a heartbeat. Tell me your favorite song, I'll put it on repeat. I could wait for you forever, through the storms or any weather. Yeah, you're like New York in the sunshine, I'm a fool, yeah. I got love blind and ooh, yeah. Got my heart out and it's loaded in gold, like moonlight over Hollywood, and it's cool, yeah, 'cause you know it's good, oh baby, we'll never get old. Down in Cali, driving around with my baby, top tracks and raindrops, know she got me all faded, my heart got me going all crazy, and I won't be walking away, yeah.
Good afternoon, good evening, hope you're doing well, snuggled up, ready for some FPL chatter. Welcome to that FPL lounge, the doors are now open and you're all welcome to pop in and say hello, whether that's in the text chat as some of you are doing already, or even better, if you want to hop into the Discord, you can chat to us live there. Here we like to see how we're doing in the current game week, look ahead and try and ease your minds or solve any dilemmas that you might have, any questions, just pop them in the chat. Our Matt will keep his eye peeled on them. All the links to everything that you need to know you'll see in front of you just now on the screen, so do feel free to interact as and when. Booner's cracked the heating up, Matt's still got his thermals on, and it wouldn't be a show without the two of them. So let's get them both in. Hello, good afternoon, Booner, and hello, Matthew. How yous both doing?
Good evening. Yeah, good mate.
Good. I know that everyone isn't here for the two of us, the three of us even. They never are. They're only here for our guests, so let's not leave them sitting any longer. Will we get them in?
Get on in.
Okie dokie. Golf is a game in which you yell 4, you score a 6, and you write down a 5. On tonight's show, we have a very special guest indeed. He's certainly on par with all our previous guests that we've welcomed into the lounge. Not only a fantastic golf player, he's also pretty decent with the football as well. He's also played in front of the masses on many occasions with his golf. For example, played on the European Tour with a full audience behind him for just for a day, like, but still. He also won the Trilby Tour as well back in, I think it was 2015, which was all over Sky Sports. I actually watched that. Really good golfer, obviously. He has collabed alongside Sergio Garcia, the sidemen that you might know, even with the very Liverpool star that is Robbie Fowler, and also interviewed people like Rory McIlroy. So he's kind of good at this game, by the way, Boona, Matt. Hope you're listening and ready and taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the commercial director at #United, working alongside his brother Spence, running a tight ship. He's a massive love of football, and given that the above, like what I've just said, we know that this young man can handle a pressure situation. Wembley Cup, anyone? He likes big putts, but he cannot lie. Tonight we give you a bogey-free round and welcome into the lounge with over 131,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 41,000 followers on Twitter, 10 years an FPL player, so a bit of a veteran, but let's get to know him better. The brilliantly talented Seb on golf. Seb, how are you?
That's got to be the most extended and yet incredible intro I've ever had by miles. It's like, it's almost like I wrote it for you. I wish I did. I'll probably have to rip that. That's incredible. I'll take that all day. I mean, you've massively set me up to disappoint many people now, because how can I possibly live up to that? But it's very, very kind of you. And yeah, I'm very good. Thanks. I'm not sure if I'm better or worse for the news that Reece James is benched, because if he doesn't play for me, Souček comes on. So I'm sort of now worried. I'm like tempted, aren't I? I've got that carrot saying I'm going to get Souček's 15 off the bench, but he's probably likely going to mean I'm going to get one for Reece James off the bench, isn't it? Really. But yeah, other than that, I'm good. I'm apprehensive now, though.
Good stuff. Matt, the chat are here and I can see it scrolling about. Do you want to say a few hellos before we crack into the usual questions for Seb?
Aye, we've got Nihao in the chat. We've got Rajan. I'm getting better at these names now, aren't I? We've got John, the Scotsman. We've got Seb himself in the chat. We've got Infamous. And we've got Sam. Hello.
Oh, Sam is good. Like some of the memes that he creates for Boona and I are unbelievable. Boona, do you want to kick Seb off then? We'll get a few of... So Seb, we ask all our guests the same kind of usual few questions. We've then got... Boona's got a few... well, actually more than a few. A good pile of questions that have come in actually from the own Twitter sphere and a few WhatsApp groups that Boona's involved in. So... You all right with that? We'll just crack on, and obviously...
Yeah, absolutely.
In the chat,
go for it.
If there's any questions, as you know, Matt's chat, so he'll keep an eye. So if there's any questions that you've got for Seb, anything on your mind that you want us to try and help you out with, by all means, post them in the chat, and Matt will get through them for you. But no, you want to kick us off then?
Sure thing. Yeah, Seb, firstly, cheers for taking the time out to join us, mate. Much appreciated.
Pleasure.
First question, I guess, on everyone's mind is... how long have you been playing FPL? Lama's already explained that, but how did you get into it?
Yeah, to be honest, like I didn't have any idea I've been playing it for 10 years until you told me. Until you just said that, because I'll be honest, I was one of them. I used to play the Yahoo game way more religiously. So I don't know if any OGs listening to this, the Yahoo fantasy football back in the day was so much more in depth. There, you used to get points for a shot on target. Like basically, a lot of the ways you earn BPS points, you used to earn actual fantasy points in Yahoo, and I used to play that very competitively, very seriously. And then FPL was always on the side, and I think I did a team and just left it. Like I only really consider myself as playing FPL for the last 2 years, although I did have one. I can't remember what year it was, but at the halfway point in one of the seasons, whatever the season was when Defoe was banging goals in for, I think it was Tottenham, I had an overall rank of 78th at the halfway point.
Wow!
And then I completely ballsed it up, and I think I lost interest again. But basically the last 2 seasons I've been on it. Basically since lockdown happened, I've not been able to play golf. I had to turn my passions to something. So the latter part of last season I was really on it, and this year I've been on it more than I've ever been on it, to be honest. I'm in a couple of pretty high standard competitive mini leagues, and yeah, I'm trying to get my first sort of proper high finish. So. Yeah, I love it way too much. Guilty pleasure.
That was one of the questions actually about the golf situation, because this whole Blovid scenario that's going on at the moment, how that's kind of like affected stuff for yourself. I mean, I know you're a busy guy, but what else are you up to out with the whole Twitter sphere and YouTube, or just for people that may not know what you do get up to?
So sort of the main thing I do is I have my own talent agency. It's like the cornerstone of my career. So I represent a couple of really big content creators. Okay. The biggest one being my brother. My brother's got a couple of million followers, makes football content. He's also like a TV broadcaster. I started off. I was one of the early movers in a solar panel with Revolution. I started a solar panel company about 10 years ago. Just at a really good time, very buoyant industry. Did really well out of that. And then as that industry was slowing down, when the government made a big legislation change, my brother's career was taking off. So I transitioned into looking after him and commercialising his activity. And then through that, we started this football team together, #United, which has turned into this sort of big thing of its own now. It was originally just a show we made for his channel, and it turned into sort of being its own living and breathing thing, and been on international tours, and we've got big sponsors, and we've now in non-league, you're playing the FA Cup, we've got professional esports players, so it's become a big, it's got its own offices, we've got lots of staff and things. That's been the big thing. So I'm sort of one of the founders of that with my brother and his fiance Alex. So we run that on a day-to-day, and then through that journey, a lot of other content creators who I came into interaction with doing things like the Wembley Cup. So anyone from, your Sidemens to your Theo Bakers, a big range of people. I look after some of them, do some brand deals for those guys as well. So basically my day-to-day is working on sponsorships for content creators. And then I guess because I got a profile for being in the # team and being in my brother's content, I then won a few TV events, a few golf events on the Trilby Tour a couple of times. So I got a bit of a golf following. And then I started making golf content about 4 or 5 years ago. So I've sort of got loads of different things that happen. So mainly, most of my day is looking after like all the activity and the business side of things for Spencer and # and the other YouTubers that we look after in my agency. And then after that, it's golf. Really, got my golf content.
Brilliant.
Jesus, you got your fingers in all the pies.
Yeah. I need some more fingers. I run out.
What was good
I guess in line with that, it'd be good to understand how you're doing this season. I know you were talking to us about it, but you're having a pretty good season, Seb.
Yeah, all right. I mean,
well, you seem to have underplayed it in our pre-talk.
So we're midway through the game week. As it stands, as of right now, I'm 38,107. So top 40k right now. I was top 70k before last night. Last night I did really well. I had Cancelo, I had Gundogan, I had Rafinha. I've got Stones. I've got Souček on my first bench, which is what I was saying earlier, is that if Reece James doesn't play tonight, then Souček comes off for 15, and then I'm really cooking. And then I've still got Bruno captain to come, and I might be able to get closer to the magical top 10k. I mean, right now I'm 32 points outside the top 10k. So if I could get some differential points from Watkins, who plays. If I can get Watkins and Souček off the bench instead of James, because I think a lot of people have got more template defences. I've got 4 at the back currently: Robertson, Cancelo, James, and Stones. None of them are massive differentials, but having 4 at the back and James in there probably is a bit of one. So James was always someone that I thought. I only brought him in about a month ago, and he's done nothing for me. I was bringing him in ahead of the double game week, and he didn't deliver for me because he got that injury, and he only played one of the games. So I'm sort of been thinking, right, I'm going to have to get rid of him. And then I thought their fixtures are quite good. I'll hold him for another few weeks. Tonight was one, obviously Wolves at home. I think there's a good chance. When Lamps has got the sack, obviously it throws the whole thing up into the air. And by the look of this guy's track record at PSG and other places, he's someone that changes formation a lot. So I think now all Chelsea midfield players in general, I think are going to be way less appealing to me personally, because I think he's someone that's going to constantly move around the team, and because they haven't got a really fixed 11, I think there's a limited number of people that are nailed. I mean, even you could say, Chilwell, could Alonso get a look back in there? So for me, if James doesn't play tonight, I've probably got bigger fires to do with my transfers for the next game week, but he's probably someone that's on his way out of the team. I just hope for God that Chelsea can go early, 2-3-0 up, and he brings on a more defensive change than him. But if Azpilicueta's already playing, which is great, I don't know. I've got a real concern that Reece James is going to just get 1 point off the bench, which is going to kill me.
I can't see it, mate. They're all going to be in Kilman's back pocket, to be honest.
Is Kilman starting? Is he?
Yeah, apparently. That's what I've read anyway. I haven't actually seen the team, but whilst we're on that, let me just read the Chelsea lineup quickly for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got Mendy in goal, back 4 actually, not a back. So everyone was thinking there's going to be a back 3 with wing backs. It doesn't look like they've gone that way. They've gone Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Thiago Silva, Chilwell back four. Midfield three of Kovacic, Jorginho, Ziyech, and Havertz, Hudson-Odoi, and Giroud up front. That might be, there might be some sort of kind of mix up there, but those are the starting 11 for Chelsea anyway. And none of the actual rumoured lineups were correct. So
I think that's a 4-2-3-1. I think that's 4-2-3-1, isn't it? I think so. I think that's Aspi and Chilwell fullbacks, Jorginho and Kovacic in front of them, right. and then Hudson, Havertz, and Ziyech. I think that's probably what it is, surely.
Yeah, because when I came in for work, I'm sure I was reading that in the chat just before I kind of started getting this all set up, that people were saying that Alonso was going to start. And that this,
I read all sorts, mate.
And when I was flicking, as you do, through Twitter and stuff like that, I thought, wait a minute, if we think Pep Roulette was bad enough, we could have another one here. So
I honestly think it's going to be like that. My dream tonight, if I look at that team, is that Wolves do well, and the three subs that come off, because I know I've heard good things, right? But I think Havertz is terrible. Like, from what I've seen of him,
I think he's shocking, mate.
I don't think he's like, I've seen nothing. Whereas Ziyech and Werner specifically is obviously disappointed. I had Werner in my team a lot at the start of the season. Luckily, I did a risky captain on him when he scored 2 and got an assist against Southampton. I got really lucky. But then I got rid of him because he dried up. But I think he's going to come good. But I can see Giroud coming off for Abraham. I can see Havertz coming off for Pulisic or Werner. And I can see Hudson-Odoi coming off for the other one, or Mount. So I'm hoping that James gets a night off tonight. And then I'm absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, you're the same, Matt. Have you not got Soucek sitting first on your bench?
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to come on.
Well, all right.
Who's the person that's got best chance of not playing for you? Or
Rashford probably.
That's a strong chance,
Yeah, that's a good shout. I mean, Rashford would be one of them where if he's niggly and he doesn't start and they go 2 or 3 goals up, why would you risk him? Like, just give him the night off, wouldn't you?
Fingers crossed. I'm in the same boat as you.
I'm the polar opposite. I've got Rashford in there and no really a decent first sub it's a playing first sub, but nothing like Soucek's 15 points or anything like that. So I'm kind of hoping Rashford does start.
I'm absolutely buzzing for. I'm buzzing for Shea Adams to come off the bench. I'd rather have Shea Adams 2 points than Mason Mount's 1. I'm good.
So one of the questions, Seb, that we got actually was, who's your football team, and does your football team influence any of your FPL decisions, per chance?
Yes, it does. So I'm a West Ham fan. I'm a West Ham fan, and I'll be honest. Like, in years gone by, when as I said, I've literally done my team at sort of 10, 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, other than the last 2 years where I've been like way more into it. Back then, I'd never put West Ham players, primarily because we're not a very good football team, but secondarily because I just feel like you can only really like lose. Like, if you pick a West Ham player and they don't score, you're just constantly kicking yourself. And I've always preferred to do it the other way, where I've picked players against West Ham. To be honest, we haven't really had that many years we've had that many good assets. It's only really been recently where Antonio's come to the fore, and the fullbacks are doing well. But like the only thing that's killed me last year, I didn't go Antonio for his 4 goal against Norwich, where both the guys in my mini league against me both had him. That's been the most awful watch to me. My team to do so well, a player I love do so well, but then him killing me in FPL really hurt. And this year, in my preparation for the double game week, I was making all the moves, getting all the right guys in like 4 or 5 game weeks before, and I went for, because Antonio was an injury doubt, he was injured at that point. Yep. I went for Fabianski, Kufau, and Soucek, who I had from the beginning, and Soucek, so then I had 3, and then Antonio got fit, and I've only got a limited number of moves I can make to get the team ready. I've got to take a West Ham player out to bring another one in for a hit. It just didn't make any sense to do it. So I brought Watkins in, and then obviously Antonio scores both games, and he could have had a hat-trick last night. So last night, he should have had a hat-trick, yeah. I'm seeing myself fist pump every time he hits the post. Like, it's such a weird thing, almost celebrating West Ham not scoring. So
Ben Ramos just made his deal permanent, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's because we're getting Lingard on a loan, right? We can only have so many loan players or something. Is that why that's happened?
Apparently, you're also apparently in talks to sign Leipzig forward Hwang Hee-chan. I've never heard of him. Have you seen much of him before? That's just been
reported. No, I've never heard of him, but I've heard he's touted as a younger age, more highly than Son was at his age.
Really?
Oh wow.
So
okay.
I mean, what does that mean? But we need a striker, so I'd be up for it. I think Benrahma looked amazing when he first joined, and he was someone I was actually looking at to maybe bring in. But I heard these quotes that Moyes doesn't really trust him and rate him. So I think then he started looking very sort of not very good at ball retention, give the ball away a lot. So I thought, I'm not sure. I can see him being that guy that comes off the bench or gets pulled off on 60 minutes. Like the attacking asset for West Ham is Antonio, obviously, unless you include Souček as a attacking asset. But I love that man. We should just give him the club. To be honest, just give Souček the club.
I thought Benrahma looked a lot better last night, though.
Yeah, he was better last night, wasn't he? I mean, we look a football team, but the thing is, West Ham are basically a metaphorical blackjack table that you're never allowed to leave. In that, you have a nice moment where you win 2 or 3 hands in a row and you get excited, but ultimately, if you keep playing, you're going to walk off broke and skinned. So it's just a matter of time.
I'm never going to look at West Ham the same again now.
The croupier is going to screw us at some point. It's just how well.
This must be the most confident you felt about having a chance against Liverpool, right? This game week coming up, you're playing some brilliant football, and defensively they're at the moment in some proper trouble. I think Antonio could bully that defense.
As a West Ham fan, it's just so hard to like visualize it. Like we're just as soon as we're supposed to do it, we don't like. And I think maybe things are different, but I can't let myself get that excited. I really sometimes get embarrassed by a lot of West Ham fans on Twitter, like this sort of entitlement that we're like this big club or something. Like every season, if you give me one win against Spurs when they really care about the result, and then we just stay in the Premier League, I'll just take it every year. I'm not bothered. The joy I get in winding up my Spurs mates, that when
I'm a Spurs fan myself.
I'll be injecting it all over you, mate, every time we win a game against Spurs. Like when we got that comeback win, the Lanzini goal.
I remember that, mate. That was
groups that I'm in.
Ridiculous.
You're a proper club. You've got a proper manager. You've got proper players. You've got a proper stadium that you own. Like I actually really like the Spurs team. I just love giving my mates thick. So my rivalry with Spurs is purely around my friends. So I just realistic about West Ham. Like the Premier League's so rich now, you got to be, it's so difficult to compete. Like how can everyone expect to be that team every year? There's 20 teams, you just got to accept it. So we'll probably finish top half, and that's fine.
What was it? I'm sure, Matt, was Benji not saying something last night about Antonio in Liverpool? That he's had like 8 returns in the last 10 games or something like that against them.
I don't know if he meant against Liverpool or he meant just in total this season.
No, I think he means in the last 10 games he's returning 8 games or something. I'm pretty sure.
Right. I thought he was kind of basically saying it was Liverpool was like a team that he loved to play against.
The only issue with Antonio is his injury, isn't he? Otherwise, he'd be a top class player. I mean, he's a good player. There's no doubt in that. But the injuries have pulled him back a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. But getting back on FPL a bit more, what type of manager would you say you were, Seb? Are you more like Dullard or are you more risky and maverick?
No, I play fairly tight, and then I wait for my moments, and I'll do out there stuff. Like I'm just going to try and go back and look what game week it was where I captained Werner, but it was definitely against the grain. I think it was game week 5. I'm just going to click back through now and have a look. But I like doing things like that, which I know is not crazy risky, but at the time, was it game week 5? No, it wasn't 5. It was 5, yeah. So game week 5, you had Liverpool, Everton, Chelsea, Southampton, Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Man United. So Spurs, West Ham. So there wasn't like a standout captaincy, I guess. I think a lot of people were probably on Son or Salah. But yeah, I captained Werner, 16 points, doubled to 32. That was a great one. So I'll sort of pick my moments. I have a few players that I just get like in love with. So like Luca Digne was one for me earlier this season. Like not a huge amount. He wasn't more than like 10-15% owned, I don't think. But I just love him. I just like he's a forward. He's playing up front on the left. He's playing left wing. Like there's nothing defensive about him. So when he was getting clean sheets, like just watching Everton, he just always got the ball, taking set pieces. There's players that I love every now and then. I have a bit of a love affair with Phil Foden, but I owned him for so long, I sacked him off. I've got Gundogan now.
Mate, talking about your love for defensive players, let's take a second to talk about how good Cancelo was last night.
Oh my god!
I brought
him in for the double game week, and I listened to the main I've obviously got a lot going on. I tend to just listen to podcasts when I'm running, and so I listen to like FPL Wire, and I listen to sometimes Black Box.
Yeah.
And I just listening to the big man talk about Cancelo's coming, he's coming. I completely bought into it, and I brought him in, and obviously didn't do great in the double. But then last night, like when Gundogan, I've just brought in, gets that ball, and the goal, who scored? No, it's actually Cancelo's goal was the goal that was ridiculous, but he stopped playing, wasn't it? It was like the game was going to stop, and he just banged it in.
Yeah.
So it was like basically a 15-minute period where Gundogan got a goal, 2 goals, and Cancelo got a goal and an assist, and I was just like, oh my god, this is incredible. But the best moment I've had for FPL all year was the week I brought Fabianski in. I brought Fabianski in for Matt Ryan. Basically, I had a decision to go Matt Ryan or Martinez, and in my mini league, the other 2 guys I was going against had Martinez. So I was like, sod it, I'm going against the ground. I'm going to go Matt Ryan. He's a good goalie. He's always been good FPL. Brian had good defensive stats. And obviously, Martinez has come on to way be the best choice ever. The week I brought Matt Ryan in, he got benched. So I was like, right, this guy's he's out. I'm bringing in Fabianski, and I was sort of planning long in advance for having him in. He comes in, and in the last minutes of the game, it was against Fulham. Don't know if you remember. Lookman took that disgusting. So basically, what had happened is Souček had scored us basically the winning goal. So I'm in my living room dancing around going, Souček! At that point, he's quite low owned. A lot of people had sacked him off from the beginning. He scored West Ham, my team, the winning goal. My man, FPL. No one in my league had him. I'm absolutely flying. I'm like, Souček! And then all of a sudden, I've got Fabianski in goal, clean sheet, buzzing. Then penalty. I'm like, no! VAR, like 3 minutes. I'm there. No, they're going to take my clean sheet. Can't believe I'm going to lose Souček points. Going to lose Fabianski points. Nightmare. So they give the penalty, and I'm just like, this is a joke. This is a joke. Like smacking my cushions. And then they take that absolutely farcical penalty.
Oh, yeah.
Fabianski just picks it up. Like, he tries to dink it, it scuffs the ground. So in that literal like 5 minutes at the end of the game, my team win the match. I get 15 points from Fabianski. I get 9 from Stu. I get 24 points and a last-minute winner for my team. It was just like, this is unbelievable. It's probably my favourite FPL moment ever, to be honest. Because they're quite differential players as well. I was going mental. It was awesome.
Did you have Souček last night?
Oh, he's on my bench, isn't he? He's hopefully coming on.
Yeah, bloody hell.
It's the first time I've benched him. I've been lucky. I've had all his points this year.
Come on, Reece James. Get on in the 91st minute.
No. Every time Souček scored, I've had him apart from last night. So I'm hoping that somehow the Souček gods will make Reece James not fancy it tonight. Let's see. We'll see.
Matt, we'll dink into the chat a little bit if you want, pal, and see if anyone's got any questions that they want to point Seb's direction. Bobby's there. A few more people have joined. Evening, Bobby. Evening, Ant. Hope yous are all doing well. What? Any questions popping in?
We got an interesting one from John, and that is, what is the most hits you've taken in a game week?
I don't think I've ever done more than a -8. I don't think I've ever done more. Like over the years, I've always thought you shouldn't ever do hits, and I've just been massively wrong. Like in the last 2 years, when I've got way more involved and like follow a lot of people and listen to the community and listen to some really like well-experienced, well-performing managers, I like the fact I've now liked taking hits. Like I think it's quite aggressive. I don't think I've ever taken more than 2 though. I think I've done 4 transfers in a week, but I think it was when I had 2 banked up. So yeah, I'm not averse to it. I'm not against it, but I always make sure that I've done the maths on whether I think these points can be repaid over the next 3 or 4 game weeks. I don't think I'd ever do them for like a single, unless it was a really big double. I got really unlucky and then really lucky in the double game week last week. So just like many people, I was sort of hurt by Leeds' game get moved because I'd planned really well, had a little bloody spreadsheet, did it all set out for like the ones I was going to bring in. And then basically Leeds game goes. So I have Dallas, who was flying for me. I bring Rafinha in, who did well for me when I brought him in, and obviously I had Bamford. And then I'm basically in a position where I've got the 3 Leeds boys. I've already brought Johnston in as a second goalkeeper to then rotate with Fabianski, because when West Ham play for Liverpool this week, and for the double. And I'm now like, right, do I play bench? Do I not play bench? And it was right to the wire, like 5 minutes to deadline. And basically my decision came down to Johnston, because I had the bench of 3 people. So I had the 3 Leeds boys and I had Brewster, right? So one of the Leeds boys was technically in the 11. And I was basically right. I don't know what to do. I'm going to probably leave. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play it. And then I thought, right, if I don't play it, what other move do I make to just get a really good 11 and save my bench boost? And the other move I wanted to do was for John Stones. And I was like, right, if I do John Stones, who do I do it for? And it was going to be, I can't remember who it was for now. I have to have a look in a sec. But I was like, let's have a look. So John Stones came in for, I had a free hit team. So the week before that, it would have been Dallas. It was Dallas. So I had Dallas, right? So I was like, right, do I do Dallas out to John Stones for another hit to make it -8? But then I've got an extra player. Then I've got technically John Stones on the bench. I was like, shit, if I do that move, then I'll play bench boost. Because I basically got John Stones. Or basically Bamford goes on the bench is what it was. So it would have been Bamford, Rafinha, Brewster instead of Bamford in the 11, technically. Because I always do the bench boost like fairly. I don't put a double game week on the bench. It's not realistic. I'd always move Bamford out because it's just the way it should be. So then I'm like, right, do I do Dallas out and then Stones in? And I was like, shit, but if I do that to make the 11 better, then I've got to play the bench boost because then I've got an extra Leeds player on the bench. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to do it. So I do the bench boost. Obviously, Johnston gets COVID. Leeds play terribly. Brewster just gets a point. So I had 7 points from my bench boost, which is terrible. However, I wouldn't have had John Stones if I didn't do my bench boost. Yeah. If I wasn't going to do the bench boost, I wouldn't have got Stones in. So the fact that I brought Stones in, obviously, more than pays for it. So I got unlucky.
But then 27 points to your bench boost. Your bench boost got 34 points.
There you go. Happy days.
Exactly.
Happy days.
I'll tell you what, from what I've flicked through this week, there's a lot of people with decent benches this week. You know, like with your Soucek's on there.
Soucek,
Saka's.
Cresswell's on a few people's benches, yeah. I think there's some big bench points out there.
Definitely. Here's one
that's always going to happen, though, isn't it, guys? Like after a bench boost week, when you've got like 15 playing players, you're always going to run that risk.
Yeah.
You're any issue with it.
No, true. Seb, here's one that we ask our guests every week. If you could change one thing, like if you're head of FPL Towers and you could change one thing about FPL, what would you change and why?
I haven't really ever thought about this in depth. However, I just would move the deadline back to an hour before because I sort of, as much as I know it's unfair, but like if you're willing to put the time in and do the research to get a few team leaks, then I want to take advantage of it. Like last year, I cleaned up on that. Like I'd make memes in my little mini leagues, telling people, "Oh, I know the team boys. Do you want me to let you know who's playing for Liverpool?" Like just the ones that weren't as on it, and then I'd literally post it in the team the second before, and I'd say like I'd bring like the last day of the season. I don't know if you remember, but the Liverpool team got leaked last day of last year, and Minamino started, and I brought him in because I heard the team news like everyone sees on Twitter. So I'm like telling the boys, I'm bringing Minamino in this week, just feeling stupid. Like I'm just going for it. They're like, "You're crazy. He's never going to play." And then I mate, I might even throw a few injectors in there in the WhatsApp group. But obviously,
so what was that?
I might have thrown a few in there, but he blanked anyway, so it was irrelevant. But it was like I think that would be it for me because I do get it, and if I'm designing the game, then they've done the right thing. But just for me personally, I'm just selfish. I want to get the advantage, so I think that would be it.
No, all I was going to say was that's it. That is what we loved it. Anfield Express, was it Anfield Express? It was called. They were the ones that were always leaking Twitter things, and then you had that would make Rockstar's day.
Oh yeah, Rockstar's the guy, isn't he? Rockstar's the hero. Like that's
Seb's got his own contacts, though, isn't he? Seb.
Well, this is.
I've got a couple.
Yeah. So now that we've got Seb on the old blower now, then we're sorted now going forward. We're all right. Seb will just text us directly. Bobby's asking. I don't know if this one's directed more towards yourself, Boona, because he knows that you've got Mount. You still got Mount in your team.
No comment.
All right, okay. No, he was just asking about thoughts on
he
being
ain't
benched.
going to stay there. He's so gone, mate. I'm going to probably bring Harvey Barnes in.
All right, okay. That one's directed to you. Right, we'll ask the final question that we normally ask, and then Matt, you want to dive through the chat and Boona you via Twitter?
I'm going to be driving in about 5 minutes, mate, so that might not be too useful, but I will still be on.
All right, no, that's fine. I can help you out with that. Obviously, don't FPL live stream and drive, as the saying goes. So, Seb, we know that you can handle a pressure situation. but it would be interesting to find out how you would deal with this scenario. So, it's the final seconds of the Champions League final, and you're through on goal, 1-on-1 with the keeper. You're just about to lace the ball when out the corner of your eye, you see your teammate, your strike partner, standing there next to you. Now, you know that if you pass to him, he's surely not going to miss because he's got an open goal. The keeper's 1-on-1 with you, Seb. However, it's you that's got the ball at your feet. So what are you doing? Are you smashing or are you passing?
Shoot faking, then slotting it bottom corner and wheeling off to the corner flag to take all the glory. 100%. 100%. I always was a striker, and I one-on-ones was something I was always fairly confident with. So yeah, there's no way I'm passing there. I want that. I want that to make that my pin tweet and stick that on my Twitter and get that up there.
Can you? I don't know. You'll have been asked this millions of times, but for the benefit, I suppose, for us three and the chat, go and try and go back through that penalty moment at Wembley, because like I play a bit of golf, not as good as you or anything like that, and you can get the jitters at simple 4-foot putts in a medal, for example. But you standing there about to take a penalty kick at Wembley, what was it like?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. I mean, like the Wembley Cup is an interesting one because I sort of helped to run that show behind the scenes, but then I've got to play in it as well. So on the day, like I've always got very mixed feelings about. I want it to go well. Like we've got a big brand sponsor in EE for that. You know, there's a lot of our fans are there watching. We had 34,000 people in the stadium one year. That particular year where I had the penalty, it was 22,000 people there. Yeah. And it was 4-4 in the match, and we win a penalty, and we've got a load of pros playing in our team, and Robert Pires has the ball. So Robert Pires is going to take the penalty to put us up in the game. And Robert Pires has played a few times. We've done loads of stuff with him. He's a fantastic, fantastic man. There's 3 or 4 guys from within football that I've had the pleasure of working with that always stood out. Like, we work with a lot of guys in football, but there's 3 or 4 guys that stand out as like really, really high caliber people, and Robert Pires would be one of them. And having said that, he likes to showboat a bit. And with these, at the end of the day, at the Wembley Cup, it's all a bit of fun, right? It's a game for charity. However, we want to win, because if we win a game at Wembley, that lives with you for the rest of your life. Right, so as much as it's a bit of fun, you want that memory. And let me tell you, having won Wembley Cups and lost them, it's a much better memory when you've won. So basically, Robert Pires, it's another day. It's like a jolly for him. It's like it's a commercial, charitable appearance. Whatever. Like he doesn't even forget about it next week. Yeah. Is he going to really do everything he can to take this penalty properly? Is he going to try a dink? Is he going to try something? And by the way, Peter Schmeichel's in goal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he's got it. All of a sudden, they do a sub. They take off Peter Schmeichel, and on in goal becomes another YouTuber called Benny Central, who's a gamer. Yep. All of a sudden, a much different proposition. So Spencer gets the ball off Robert Pires and gives it to me. Because I've always been a penalty taker in most of the teams I've played in my life. And to be honest, I've got a very set place I go. I go bottom left. I used to have like Beckham highlights. I was a right proper Beckham wannabe, a left-footed Beckham wannabe. And all I'd do was like take set pieces and do the big like arm roll, like winding them in. So I'd always stand there pretending to do like a Beckham set-up stance, which would make the keeper think I'm going to do a left-footed Beckham, it's going to go top right, right? And then I'd do the fake one, and I'd just slot it bottom left. And every time it would work. So he's like, he knows what I'm going to do. He knows I'm going to score. He said, I want you to take it instead of Pires. So all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. And then I'm not going to lie, I'm a pretty confident guy. But all of a sudden, I have this moment where for some reason it crept into my head. It went from thinking, this is your chance to score a goal at Wembley in front of 20,000 people and about 1 million watching on YouTube. Don't fuck it up. And I literally did the biggest goal ever. So I don't know if you can swear on this. Apologies.
Yeah, no, of course you can.
Content, mate. You're not swearing.
Okay. I basically, all of a sudden, shat myself. I'll be honest, I did. I was like, oh, shit. And I got really lucky because I didn't do the big arm wind. And I didn't hit a very good strike on it at all, but luckily the keeper went the other way. I mean, if the keeper goes the right way, it looks like the worst penalty ever. But he didn't, and it went in, and it was just amazing. I didn't sleep that night. I was so pumped.
Awesome. Yeah, no, you would have been buzzing. And then when you went to the side and just done your putt, I was like,
yeah. that's like a great moment. Like to have that moment, like with my brother, in Wembley, like having that moment is just it's something you just take forever. It's awesome.
No, brilliant. Thank you very much for that, and kind of going back through it again with us, and for the benefit of the chat for anyone that may not know, but I'm pretty sure they all do. What else is coming in through the chat, Matt?
We've got a good question from Nihao. As a West Ham fan, who is the best and worst assets from West Ham, and thoughts on their chances in the next 4 fixtures?
Ooh.
So definitely Antonio. And annoyingly, he's the only one I don't have. So like when I was preparing for my double game week, I because Antonio was injured when I started the prep, I had Kufal, Fabianski, and Souček. So I never had a way of bringing Antonio in that made sense. So I didn't go with him, but I wanted him more than any of them. Like he's definitely the guy, regardless of injury. Right now, the form he's in, could have had a hatful last night. I definitely would say him. Outside of him, I mean, it's Souček, but although he is going to be that guy that you're going to look, West Ham, Palace, maybe I'll prefer someone else over him, Rafinha, like I did, and basically he's going to hurt you. So I sort of feel like probably is the most safe West Ham pick probably is Kufal, if you got him at a decent price, because you can just play him. He's going to not do anything crazy. He's a safe pick. Antonio's the one I'd get. If I was picking 3 West Ham players now, I'd pick Antonio, I'd pick Souček, and I'd pick Kufal. That'd be my 3 in that order.
Yeah, that's what. In fact, I think you did the same, Matt, did you not? I just did that move last night. Took Vardy, well, obviously, when I'm being injured, to Antonio, so...
Yeah, I did Bamford to Antonio.
Yeah, the next 4 game weeks, obviously got Liverpool, which anything can happen. Villa is going to be tight. I think they're very good. Then we've got Fulham and Sheffield United. So it's not terrible. West Ham.
No, yeah.
Scoring in all of them.
That's quite a good one there in the chat, Matt, for John Harris. So the last one was John McEwen. This one's John Harris. You want to go for it?
Yeah, question for Seb. Shoot a 59 or win FPL?
There's a bet for you.
Do you know what? I probably would say win FPL, and the reason being, which it might surprise a few people. Now, I've been lucky enough. I've shot a few. I've not shot a 59. Don't get me wrong. I've shot some good scores in golf, and as much as it's really cool to have a low number, no one can ever really validate it other than the people you played with, unless it's on camera. So if it was on camera 59, where it was filmed, and like I could like have it as a memory, then I'd probably say that. Like if it was in a tournament that was on TV, I'd probably go for that. But if it was just with my mates or like at my local club, then I don't know. I feel like it'd be way more impressive to tell people you've won FPL. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I sort of think it's tough, but I probably would say I'd take FPL.
There's a couple here, Buna. Buna, are you driving safely?
Always driving safely, man. What do you mean? Is that a rhetorical question?
BMW drivers and all that. I know Stephen Stewart and Jack from your WhatsApp group had kind of similar questions. Can you remember them?
So Stephen's the guy that I mentioned, Dev, that is one of my work colleagues, and he basically wanted to ask your thoughts on the whole non-league debacle regarding them, potentially scrapping.
I could talk about this all night, but the concise version is that they made a huge mistake last year when they null and voided the season 6 days after lockdown was announced, which was just no time for them to learn anything about the pandemic. We've learned so much since then. They had an absolute shocker. It was 75% done. We were in pole position to get promoted and get back-to-back promotions. They null and voided the whole thing. Terrible. This year, they restarted the league without a plan if what the same happens again. The same's happened again. They had no plan. If you go to a vote now, there's only 1 or 2 teams in every league that benefit from continuing. Every other team would just rather start again. There's a completely awful way to vote on these things when the season's already started and people are obviously got things to lose or things to gain by either outcome. So total disgrace. There's a thing called Project Non-League right now, which is a group of guys and a group of teams, hundreds of teams that we're a part of, which basically is trying to lobby the FA to accumulate last year's results and this year's results.
This is what Jack said. This is what Jack from one of my WhatsApp messages said, mate. Sorry to cut you off there, but it kind of just goes in with this. And he's basically said, should last year's results be combined with this year's results? Sorry, I'm trying not to die at the same time. He goes, Spence talked about it as well on the Athletic pod. We're keen to know if you've got the same thinking. Presume you do then.
Yeah, definitely. So these guys that come up with this mathematical calculation is genius. So not only should they do that, but the way in which they do it there's a restructure happening at non-league level, which means that just by pure, beautiful mathematical coincidence, you could promote the winner of every league based on that accumulative points per game, but not relegate anybody. So nobody would be worse off than when they started pre-pandemic.
Yep.
Only the teams that had been best over 2 seasons that would be cut early, which accumulative would be over 1 full season, would be rewarded for good play. That is an absolute no-brainer. They get to reorganise the leagues to the correct numbers in each level they wish to do. Nobody is punished. Only the good are rewarded.
Yes.
Now, the only reason why I don't think they will do that is because the FA are an archaic organisation and it requires them to reverse the previous null and void decision because those results technically don't exist right now. They were expunged, is the official term, from the record books. They did not happen. They obviously did, but they're gone. So they've got to unexpunge something. And I just don't think they'll do it. So basically, it's a total joke. There's teams like Hashtag. Obviously, we want to go up, right? But what interest is it in the rest of the teams in our league for us to stick around? Like, we're going to win the league probably again. So what, there's teams way more likely to win a league than us. There's a team called Jersey Bulls that have won every single match last season and this season. Mathematically, last season had won promotion already. If they'd lost every remaining fixture 50 million nil, they still would have guaranteed they'd win the league. It's a complete waste of time.
So
they're going to go back, play the same teams again, win 8-0 every week, wasted their time, wasted the other team's time. Why don't they just sort it?
Yeah.
So,
it's
a shame.
That does make sense, doesn't it? Sorry, go on, Karen.
No, that's
so
it. Really.
It's just so backwards, isn't he? Like, it's like
Jack had a second part to his question as well. Said, he goes, "Can I face the greatest Hashtag United player, Faisal Manji, in club to club?"
Faisal Manji, what a hero! Faisal's having a half decent season in FPL as well. So in the Hashtag United, in the Hashtag Mini League, I'm top with Faisal Manji second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent.
He's on 1,217 points. 1,217 points. Faisal is.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Matt, what else is happening in the chat? I'm seeing some more of these questions coming in. By the way, some of them are belters.
we got really lazy Jay. I've not heard you in here before, so welcome. Seb, how long till Hashtag are in FPL?
Well, I mean, we've got 9 promotions, so 9 years. We're realistic. You know, we're on a great trajectory. We'd love to continue to get promotions, but you know, we would need some serious investment. You know, way beyond our current means to move on to even League 2, let alone the Premier League. I mean, if we Hashtag was this year, we'll turn 5. 5 years ago, we were arranging a kickabout for me and my brother and our mates, and now we're playing in the FA Cup.
I remember when it started out. Yeah, I didn't realise how much it amplified since then. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's crazy. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, quite a while, I'm afraid. Quite a while.
And he's got a second question as well. I don't know if you actually answered this, but he says, Sep, your highest FPL finish ever.
So I said I had that unbelievable season where I was 78th at one point at the halfway stage, and then I blew up. I can't remember which one it was, but I blew up. But really, the only time I played properly, if I'm truthful, is the last 2 years. And last year, I think I was 30k. So I'm about 30k now, and I finished. Was it something 30k last year, something like that, 35k?
It was.
So yeah, basically where last year was that. This year, I'm hoping to go better. I'm trying to get in the top 10k this year. We'll see, but yeah, nothing crazy, nothing too lofty, I'm afraid.
Seb, are there any interesting footballers or people that have maybe retired that you've spoken to or you've done podcasts with that you would suggest speaking to or trying to reach out to? Out of interest, who would you say kind of appeals to you most from the conversations you've had?
So, are you talking about FPL?
Not necessarily FPL. No. Just footballers, maybe retired footballers.
I mean, obviously, they're all got great stories. The guys I was referring to earlier when I say which ones are the best men. So we're very friendly with Cesar at Chelsea's Aspilicueta. He's been an investor in Hashtag for about 3 years now. He's on our board of directors, so he's involved a lot in the club. He's a fantastic person. He loves football. He loves gaming. He loves esports. He's just a really great family man. Really,
do you think he'd be willing to give Lama a lesson in pronouncing his name? Because Lama has a tough time of pronouncing his name.
Come on,
what's so hard to pronounce about Dave?
But he goes for the long bit.
Seb, I have no idea. It's such an easy surname to pronounce.
It's he's one, but the other guys are the two midfield maestros for England, Gerrard and Lampard. Gerrard particularly, like, he's such an amazing footballer. We've played many games. He's been involved in Wembley Cup. He's been involved. My brother's done some stuff with BT as I have, and he's been involved in that. He invited me out to his golf tournament in Portugal 2 years ago, and like he must have worked with so many people. And every time he's met me, he's remembered my name. And like I don't know whether it's a skill he's got or whether he goes out of his way to like get briefed by somebody on who he's seeing that day. Like, oh, who's coming to this? Oh, Seb from Hashtag, and he's obviously, I'm sure, forgotten about me. And there's someone, but whatever it is, it makes you feel so special.
Oh,
and he's just one of those guys. Like when you're in the caravan outside the compound at BT Sport, for a Champions League night, and Gerrard is like, they're all the boys are in the back. Savage and the lads are all having a laugh. Rio, we're all like just joking around. Gerrard's like in a suit in the front driver's seat with his notes, like just preparing. Like he's just that caliber of guy. Like Lampard was the same. Lampard actually went to the same school as me, but he was much older than me, so I didn't really ever have any interaction with him. But Lampard in Kiev for the Champions League final, like we had a few glasses of wine afterwards in the hotel, all the BT people, and he was just like, he's so intelligent. I'm genuinely, I did a few tweets about it. I'm genuinely been gutted that he lost his job, because I know that man will be a success. If he wants to continue in management, as I hope he does, he will succeed, because he will work harder than anyone else ever has, and he will make it work. He knows football, and he's such a hard worker. I love the stories about how at West Ham, he wasn't in the school team at school, by the way. He wasn't in the school team. He has worked he obviously got a leg up in football, and his early part of his career, he got chastised because everyone thought it was nepotism that he was in the West Ham team. And then he goes to Chelsea and works so hard in his game to become one of the best midfielders we've ever had in our country. I just think it's such a shame that the relationship he's had has been tarnished with Chelsea. And this new guy Tuchel, like he'll be out of a job in 2 years as well. Like, is it not worth giving him a season? Is it not? I get that Chelsea have that model, and I've always sort of backed it, but when it's someone like Lampard and it's a club, it just feels dirty. It really doesn't feel right.
I was listening to, now I can't remember if it was BT or Sky they were talking about it on. Do you think that if fans were there in the stadium just now, do you think that would have made a difference to anything? Or do you think Abramovich, we know that he is kind of like, he's got that makeup where he will just get rid of you anyway, but do you think if the fans had been there because of who he is, who Lampard is at that club, that might have kept him in the job a bit longer? Or
it's interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but I think that's a really good point. Possibly, I know there was an element of the Chelsea fan base that wanted him gone, which I don't understand. But the friends of mine that I'm closest to that are big Chelsea fans definitely didn't want that. So I think that's a good shout. Like, I just don't know where he goes from here. Like, where's he going to go now? Well, is he going to have to go and do a Celtic job or something? I don't know.
Well, that was what I was going to kind of ask. What do you think he will do? Do you know? Does he go down back to the Championship, or or go elsewhere? Maybe just to take a break from being in England, for example. I don't know. It's because the other thing that I found weird about the whole situation as well, which again you don't really put much. Well, I certainly never put any thought in it. But the fact that new manager is going to be in the dugout this evening, for example, meant that he had to have been in the country 2 weeks ago because of Blovid. So,
well, I don't know. There people get exceptions. So, like, they can do this bubbling thing, and a lot of countries have elite sports people, and certain roles can have exceptions to it. But yeah, I mean, at the same point, there's no way that. He probably flew in, or someone flew to him like that. There's no way that Lampard sacked and that new guy comes in that quickly. And there's been negotiations. So you're right. That's definitely been in the works for a while. So what do you call it? Henry Winter put on Twitter, which I thought was quite prominent, which was, he said, like, realistically, last year was a PR job. Like, there's no way they wanted him as the manager. They had a transfer ban, bring a club legend in. He did really well. Therefore, some people are saying they weren't all Lampard signings. I don't know. That's just purely me. Listen to what people say online. I really don't know. Like, I think that I just don't know who else is going to do a much better job than what he's done. Like, to bring the youngsters through. Like, I totally agree. They've spent an awful lot of money, and you have to get results. But I think because they've spent so much money, it's unrealistic to get results that quickly. It's a completely different philosophy they're trying to bring in. Like, it has to be a season. Like, why not just wait another 6 months? For God's sake!
I know.
Really
I've honestly no idea where he's going to go. I have absolutely no idea where he's going to go. One thing I do know, however, is wherever he goes, he's taking Mason with him.
Looks that way, doesn't it? I hope he doesn't take Declan with him as well, because I know Mason and Declan are very close. I think
I'll tell you what,
that'll be a concern for West Ham fans.
He's having a brilliant season, isn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's a big keen golfer as well. The only other thing I thought about for Lampard is wonder if he'd go and work with Rooney back at Derby again.
Well, yep.
Do go back there and like do a little manager assistant job while Rooney sort of learns the ropes a bit. He obviously knows the club. I wonder if that would be something, but I don't know. If I were Lampard, I'd just take some time out, to be honest.
Yeah, one place I certainly wouldn't go is the Celtic job. I would touch that one.
Yeah.
Not the now, anyway.
It would create quite the dynamic, though, wouldn't it, Gerrard versus Lampard?
No, exactly. Can you imagine?
It'd be pretty cool.
Couple of questions then. Well, we've actually got a rake of questions coming in. So with the context, we're doing all right time-wise, I think. Seb, just foot me.
No, I'm good. We're all good. Fun.
So this is... I thought Seb asked himself a question here.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Seb's evil twin.
Seb's evil twins there. Seb, captain for 1 week next week against Brighton. Who would it be between Kane and Son?
So I am in a situation where next week I'm likely to bring one of those two in.
Okay.
Where I've got 8 million in my bank right now.
What?
8 million.
What are you doing?
In my bank.
They say Scotland are bad.
I'm saving up.
Yeah.
I've got 8 mil, and I'm thinking about selling maybe Rafinha, or I can upgrade Brewster, or I could just get rid of Bamford now. I could basically afford anyone. So I can do Rafinha to Son, I can do Brewster to Kane, and then that's because they're good captaincy for the next week, and then also the week after, 2 weeks after. So I don't know which one I'm going to go for yet, because it might come down to which other midfielder I want if I get Kane, whether I want Grealish, whether I want to go somewhere else. But if I was just picking one, like just a one-person team, one player, Kane or Son, next week I would probably, away to Brighton, I'd probably do Kane for the Pens. And I sort of think there's so many midfield options, and like there really isn't up front. Like I sort of feel like Son's probably better value. But it's tough. I honestly don't know. I think I'll probably just lean towards Kane.
Yeah, I think that's
for nailedness as well.
I think that's what kind of swings the kind of decisions for me as well. Who's taking penalties? But again, then you weigh that up against the midfielders scoring you more points. So yeah, it's one of those. It's a close one. So hopefully, I don't know, Seb, if we actually helped you out there in the chat with that one. But Kane probably edges it. Who else is asking questions, Matthew?
We've got Lynn herself in the chat.
Oh, here comes trouble, Seb. Here comes trouble.
Wait till you hear the question. How does Seb feel about bananas on pizza? Seems an alright lad. I'm sure he'd like it.
Cracking. I've never tried it. I like bananas. I have a lot of bananas. I go for a run in the morning, and I obviously don't like eating before, but I normally have a banana before. Both my children like bananas, so I'm a big banana fan, but I'm not sure about a pizza, to be honest. I've never tried it, but I'd probably rather have a more traditional pizza, to be honest. Sorry, Lynn.
What was it Lynn said on the other night there when she was on? Because someone said, look, if you can't have banana on a pizza, what's the next one? And we already knew pineapple was coming out our mouth. Pineapple was the next one.
Seb, I've got a really interesting question. It's one that might make you exit the Discord and the stream altogether. It's a bit of a risky one.
All right.
But I want you to describe this person using one word.
Oh, I know what you're going to ask.
Jeremy Lynch.
Next question.
Yeah, that's fine. That's Seb, well answered. And I don't know. I just knew, Boona, you were going to ask that.
How did you know?
But I just knew.
I mean, being honest about it, like obviously, Jeremy's a very talented guy. He's done incredibly well with his career, with what he did with F2, with his own stuff now that he's doing. He's a very talented guy. He's not very nice to work with. Being honest, he's not very nice to work with. There's loads of stories that are not for for me to tell. It's not. I'm not the only person that thinks that way. But it's water under the bridge. I've got nothing against Jeremy anymore. He made some things quite difficult for us, but he might have his own side of the story. So I wish him well. I don't think we'll be exchanging Christmas cards anytime soon, sadly. But yeah, no, he's done some great stuff. Got to respect what he's achieved.
Yeah,
awesome.
No, good stuff. Thank you for that, Seb. I know that was a wee bit of a tough one, but you're still here, which is great. Right. Denver's got one for you. Evening, guys. What does Seb or the panel, but mainly you, Seb, think of Chelsea's new first team or the lineup that they've put out? What's your first reaction to that, I suppose? And then he's asking the straight question: who to have in defence from City? It must be two now, surely. Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, all three scored recently. So I think he's basically wanting you to pick his defence, for the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, I have Stones and Cancelo. So I've got the cheaper guy who I think is pretty nailed now, although I know Laporte's coming back into it. And then I go for the upside. Cancelo for me is a no-brainer. I just had faith the stats were going to convert, and last night, thankfully, they did, as many people benefit from as well. So I definitely would say them two. I wouldn't go triple, as I know some people did, just because... imagine there's a COVID outbreak in the opposing team, and then your whole defence is wiped out. I've got 3 City, so I'm at risk for that anyway. But at least I've got one of them's in midfield, so I've got other midfielders to come in. If it's 3 defenders out, you're not going to field 11 men. You've no chance.
Yeah.
So but they'd be my 3. So at the moment, I've got Gundogan, Stones, and Cancelo. So I'm a happy boy with those 3 at the minute.
Can Gundogan continue this? Do you think?
Well, I think the stats show that he can, right? So all the stats that I read up on before I made the decision to get him for KDB were that he actually was very comparable to KDB for shots in the box, chances created, expecting goal involvement, all those stats. He's had a few set pieces on pens now, it seems. So it just seemed to me like overthinking. I did consider going straight to Son and doing that move and having just 2 City, but it wasn't for very long. And Gundogan was the obvious pick, and I was always gonna do it. I ended up putting the trigger on it the night before, which I tend to not do because I thought KDB was going to go down, Gundogan was going to go up. I thought for the sake of 12 hours, it's probably worth a gamble on a 0.2. And then I saw a quote from Guardiola back in the day where he said, this is before Gundogan's form turned up. He's quoted to saying he thinks Gundogan might be City's greatest ever transfer, pound for pound.
Yeah, I know.
So that was it for me. I was like, right, he's in. He's going to get rested, but he's 5.6 million getting rested, or 5.5. Instead
all three of you have got Gundogan, and Matt even captained him. You must be pretty happy that he went off when he did, right? Well, maybe you wish he'd gone off 2-3 minutes later.
I was going to say 2 minutes later. It was before 60 minutes.
It's like 55 minutes. It was almost
his chances moving forward and starting. In that sense, it must be pretty, relieving.
The thing about that yesterday that kind of slightly annoyed me, and Seb, I know you're kind of more involved in the football than what I am, but I just didn't see what was the point in them coming out after half time, because they were literally on the park 7 minutes and then subbed off. It's like, what's the point? But
I lost you for a minute there. Sorry, what was that one?
No, I was just saying about last night when Gundogan and that came out for the second half, and then they were subbed within 7 minutes. It was almost pointless.
Yeah, when I was growing up playing football, managers would always tell me that they liked the team getting back in the rhythm before they made the sub. They never liked making it at half time. But then again, you see people like Mourinho loving a little cheeky half time sub. So I don't know. I just one thing I noticed last night was I was getting very concerned when Cancelo was on for this monster haul, and then I saw the board go up again on 59 minutes, and I was like, oh, it's their final change. Like, if it's going to be Cancelo, I don't mind as long as he gets to 60. And then I was literally like 58, 59, and it was Bernardo Silva, I think, that went off.
And I was I was going through the same. Mate, I had Sterling as well. Imagine seeing Torres coming on as well. My God, this was before he scored, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, fair play to Sterling. I was making memes about Sterling for my mini league group because the other guys both brought him in instead of Gundogan. They went KDB to Sterling. I went KDB to Gundogan. So I was giving them all sorts of shit first half, and then they obviously got a few back on me in the second half in the end.
No, that's I know. Because we were doing the same, funnily enough. When Boona, it was Boona's birthday yesterday, so Matt and I were in the Discord and we were just like, yeah, inject that, Boona. You know, I'll speak to you later kind of thing. And then Sterling went and done that tapping.
Yeah, fair play. Like, although the thing is, he's done 90 now. What do you think, Boona? Is he going to get rested next week now?
I don't think he's droppable, man. He looked hungry yesterday. I know it was West Brom, but he looked up for it. I think he'll continue.
I was just glad Foden and Gundogan came off. Not at that time.
I'm tempted to captain him, to be honest, over the Son players. Where are you going at the moment with your armband, Seb?
Next week, I had an outside thinking. I honestly can say this. I said this. I thought this before last night's game, but I was thinking about going Cancelo against Sheffield United. I don't see how they score a goal against City. I really don't. The only concern is that he may get rotated. So probably I was looking at bringing a Spurs player in for the armband. Chelsea is another one I consider. Like I think Werner's going to come good, but now they've got this new guy in. Like I've got to give that some time. So really, it's City. I think there's worse picks than captaining Gundogan. To be honest, it's not out of the question for me. I certainly, if I had Sterling, would be considering it, but I would also be concerned about the fact that Pep has clearly made a point about making 3 early subs.
Yeah.
And Sterling wasn't one of them. Did Sterling play in the cup?
I don't think so. I can't remember. Maybe that's just me being wishful. No, he didn't. He missed out. He missed out completely. He didn't. This was the thing, right? A lot of people were saying, look, Pep was struggling and he didn't bring Sterling on. Is he out of favour? He didn't come on even when they were like, I think it was like 1-0 down, weren't they, against, who was it? It was an inferior team. Was it Newport?
Oh, yeah, you had about the FA Cup, weren't you?
Cheltenham, yeah.
Cheltenham, that's it, yeah. And he didn't bring Sterling on to help.
No, I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, I'm just looking now at their fixtures. So they've got, obviously, they've played last night. They've got a game Saturday, and then they've got a game Wednesday, then Sunday, then Wednesday in the FA Cup again. And Liverpool is the third one of those. So you could think that if he was going to rest people, he'd probably do it in the Burnley game, which is Wednesday week. So a week tonight, basically. So you think maybe you're right, and that you might play again against Sheffield, and then anyone that's going to get a rest gets a rest ahead of the Liverpool game on the 7th, and so the Burnley's the one where there might be some rotation, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But then at the end,
what about you and Matt? What about you, Lama and Matt? Who are you going with the armband?
I don't know.
Gundogan again.
Yeah, Gundogan again.
Yep.
I'm leaning towards Sterling over the Spurs assets right now for some reason.
It's a bit of a bizarre one, Boona. I think it's like when you look at like what Seb's saying there, you could easily put the armband on Sterling because it's Sterling. Do you know what I mean? But then when you go Gundogan, you start doubting yourself. But actually, the way Gundogan's playing just now, why wouldn't you captain him?
He's playing. Yeah, he's
playing so.
Not like previous. Not
the
like
question
previous
is,
seasons, and he's so clinical and on pens.
He's like 5.5. Would you be more happy? We have this debate all the time, don't we? Would you be more happy captaining him if he was like 9.5? Is it a price tag?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but that's sometimes the way as an FPL manager your head can go. Auntie in the chat is saying that FPL lounge has got more contacts than Hugh Hefner's little black book. This is another amazing guest. Well, thank you very much for that, Ant. What else is coming in from the chat? And we'll try and rattle through the last few.
I was going to say, we'll try and clear it up in the next 10 minutes or so, because I know everyone's got places to be, people to see. We got our resident Paulie, which is our golfer, Seb, in the chat, and he's gone,
yes.
What's worse, Seb? Missing a 5-footer but for a birdie, or your captain failing?
I guess it depends on the context of the rest of my round, but yeah, captain failing's not great. I'll probably say captain failing's worse. You can always make the next one on the next hole for birdie, but yeah, captain fail's painful, man. Like that, it's interesting. Since I've become a father, I used to get incredibly worked up if I'd played badly at golf. Like it would sort of ruin the rest of my day, and I'd be in a bit of a mood. But that's definitely changed since I've become a dad, and I've really let it go a lot easier. But I can't let a captain fail go as easily. Like that really, really gets to me. Like the only thing is sometimes because I tend to most of the time play it fairly safe with the captain pick. So normally when it fails, you sort of are in it together with a lot of other people. the guys that have punished me most this year is Kane and Son. I haven't really owned any of them at all this year. So I think I might. I think I've had Son once. I've not owned Kane once at all. So they're the ones that have hurt me, and especially they always seem to play at the end of the game week, and they're doing it this week as well.
Yes.
So you get a lovely green arrow, you're in a nice spot, and then you've got Kane and Son still to come, and they always seem to do it. And I'd probably say it's harder. Where captain fails worse.
Does FPL affect your mood at all if it doesn't go well?
Definitely, yeah. Like I'll be if Reece James doesn't come on tonight, I'll be like Michael Jackson Shimoning in the living room.
Can you imagine me? Imagine me last night, yeah? My fiance turns up with a birthday cake, surprising me, right? And I'm a little bit gutted because I'm like, I really wanted to watch this City game in peace, right? So I'm a bit like, really happy. Like I was happy, don't get me wrong. I really hope she's not listening right now. I was really happy and everything. And then Sterling gets his assist, I'm like a little bit happier. Sterling gets the goal, I'm like, oh babe, I'm so happy you're here. Do you know what I mean?
I think you might have just recovered that if she is watching Boone. I think you.
you were going one way. Yeah, you were going one way there, and then you pulled it back though. You pulled it back.
I'm definitely the same. Like if the missus asked me to take the bins out or do something like around the house, and I'm in the middle of a game and. You know, my captain's having a shocker, then I'm like, oh no, come on. No. Whereas, like, if Gundogan's just scored, Cancelo's just scored last night, I'm like, yeah, one's bins. What do you want me to do? I'll do the
of course I'll take the bin out. Do you want anything else?
Yeah. I'll do the street spins while I'm out here. Aman Dillon's in the chat. He's not been in the chat for a wee while, is he? Aman, hope you're doing well, pal. Good to see your face there. Boona, Lama, Matt, Seb, hope you're all doing well. Is there any point holding on to Charlie Taylor? Or should I just sell? What are you thinking, Seb?
So one of my guys I'm up against has got Charlie Taylor. He's someone I considered going into the double, and then he got that knock. It definitely looks the Burnley defence is doing great, isn't it? Because of obviously Nick Pope's like unbelievable out of nowhere, the best goal in the world again. Just looking at Burnley's fixtures, they've got Chelsea and Man City, and then it's quite good. So in game week 23, you've got Birmingham, Palace, West Brom, and then after that, where have they gone? They've got West Bromwich out. Jesus Christ, they're actually. Oh no, sorry, that's Bright. Where've Burnley gone? They've got Tottenham. So no, maybe for 23 through to 20. You've got to hold them, haven't you? So it depends on the rest of your defence, doesn't it? Like, can you sit him on the bench? Not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Can you sit him on the bench? Yeah.
I
wouldn't be buying him in. That's for sure.
He's not a buy, but yeah, you might be all right just holding or just sitting him on your bench there. Alex the Kid, Matt, I was just going to address this just because this happens to all of us. So Alex, I know you've already had Ant has just told you to keep the chin up, which is kind of where we would be going as well. 2 minutes before the deadline, Seb, I did Vardy to Watkins instead of just playing Soucek. And then I changed the captain to Bruno from Cancelo. I chickened out. I'm just so daft or so stupid, he says. But as Ant says there, look, we all have weeks like that, Alex. Don't worry about it. It's just part of what this game is that we love to hate in FPL. But just try your best, keep smiling, and enjoy it for the game that it is. But that is the kind of stuff, Seb, that happens, isn't it?
Brutal. It's brutal. Yeah, we've all had moments like that. I mean, I think he's made a pretty good move there, Vardy to Watkins. Watkins is playing a good team. He's probably going to have a double soonish. He's just unlucky, really. Like, so easy in hindsight to say Captain Cancelo. I for a moment I considered it, but then it isn't logical. Like, he hasn't hauled yet. He's a rotation risk. Like, it wasn't. I think you made the right decision. Like, you can every week you can do that. I think what worse is when you like. I saw a shocker from I don't know his actual name, but I think there's a guy on Twitter called FPL Mate, and he tweeted and he obviously makes content, and I think some of his stuff's quite good actually. But he tweeted out, he said he was half asleep and he accidentally transferred out Che Adams to someone instead of Brewster to someone. Like, they're the ones that you can really get annoyed about because that's completely in your own control. Like, you just make a physical mistake, but. That one, Alex, just unlucky, mate. You'll come back around for you, I'm sure.
I saw that. He said that priced him out of his transfer for the weekend or the week after.
That's it.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Can I just let you know, Watkins just scored for Villa.
Ollie, boy.
Has it?
Yeah.
14 minutes.
Lying. What's my live rank now? I'm a sucker for this as well. I constantly check my live rank. I'm so pointless. I'm into it. I'm up to
no, we had,
23k, boys. Here we go.
we had Dan on the show quite near the start, when we've only been doing this, Seb, for a few months now. And Dan was actually one of the first, near the beginning of the guests that we had on. Unfortunately, for some reason, that podcast sounded like we were
Dan,
in a tin can.
FPL mate, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, Dan, FPL mate, yeah. But we'll need to get him back on, I think, just to do another one now that we've mastered this.
I think we need to redo it, mate.
Yeah, because 100%. It did sound like we were doing it from a baked bean can or something like that. It was bizarre.
Target another assist as well.
Oh,
seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck right off.
Wow.
Dear. Polly in the chat, good news, Polly is saying that Sterling never starts Buna anyway against Burnley.
Yeah.
Have you seen what Ant A put?
What's
Lampard
that?
is being linked with the Crystal Palace job. Hodgson is about 98 now, so he's ready to
resign. I think that'd be a good place for him to go.
But
London,
you got Jab in the chat, which is a Crystal Palace fan saying, I don't want Lampard. No chance.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
Sadly, I've got a feeling he might not have a say.
No, that's true.
He's not on the recruitment process now, is he not? No. He's not involved.
So James Donald,
fucking hell,
James Donald's saying there that he might have quite a long question, which is fine, James. What I think we'll do, Matt, do you want to ask Seb Nehal's question? I'll quickly bring up Seb's team, and Seb, if you want, you can kind of talk your way through it, what's on your mind for the week ahead, and then we'll kind of wind things up at that, I think, Matt, yeah? Booner?
Aye.
Sweet.
Cool. Yeah, so James, don't worry about it, pal. You get your question written in there, and Nihal will come to you then now. When you go, Matt.
Nihal has said, why is golf considered an old man's sport?
So I think it's because golf takes that there's a few practical issues on this, right? So golf takes a long amount of time to play. Yeah. So historically, if you get into golf at a young age, it's normally because someone in your family's into it. And it's also quite an expensive sport to play. So a lot of people, as they get less time and have less disposable income at the start of their careers, golf isn't a very accommodating sport to begin with. You have to have a lot of time. If you're already playing football or something else, and you've got to want to spend money on that, there's got a lot of initial barriers to entry. It then just so happens that as you get later in your career, if you've done well and you get more time, you haven't got to be working as many hours and you've got more disposable income, that's really when you get the chance to play it. So it's just a bit of a victim of that. Like, it needs new formats that allows for it to be shorter and quicker. But golf is a very old game. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. It's got a lot of traditions, some of which are quite prohibitive to grow in the game. So it's difficult. But one thing I will say is, and this surprises a lot of people when I tell them this, is I used to hate golf. I did not play golf at a young age. I was not that guy who's always been a golfer. I was football until I was about 21. And then after university, I rented a flat next to a golf course, and the guy I lived with was a golfer. So we used to just jump on and play, and I got hooked. So I know that I know the people that may be listening to this, or anyone who thinks golf is that snooty old man sport. I just know they're wrong, because I used to think the same thing. You just need to have the right exposure to it. You need to have someone really that is of your mindset to bring you into it. But it's a fantastic game. It's completely addictive. It's the only game in the world, really, where it's just completely you against yourself. Like to the extent at which golf is. But also in golf, you can basically play till you're 80, right? So it's a great investment in your future to get good at golf, because you can basically play that sport the rest of your life. And so I don't know another sport like golf where almost all the people that watch it play it regularly. Like football, like I don't play football anymore. Like, I've retired for 2-3 years now. You know, my dad watches football. He doesn't play football. You know, some people do play five-a-side when they get older, but there's no one that is like a religious golf watcher that doesn't play. Like, they're all members of a golf club. So if you watch golf every week on the PGA Tour or European Tour, you most likely are a member of a golf club somewhere, or you play with your mates a couple of times a month. So anyway, it's got an image issue, but it's slowly changing.
I think it is. I would say it is changing for sure. I mean, even the golf course that I'm a member was a member of. There's a lot of young players in there, a lot of youth in there, which is great to see. So I think it is kind of slowly changing. But you're right with what you're saying. I think as we move forward, there'll be more and more. But you're right as well about the whole job situation, especially me in Scotland where the weather's like no the best, and it gets dark early, so it's like half a season sport at times, or it feels like that. But in terms of getting out and about for fresh air and everything, nothing else for it. I'm similar. I got told to stop playing football.
Sort of. It's fairly. Oh, really?
Yeah, no, the doctor had just said you've got 2 sportsman's groin injuries, so they might go at any time. I wouldn't advise you play anymore. And then just kept playing golf, so decent. I've got your team up now, Seb. So we can quickly kind of talk our way around that if you want. But see, the other thing that I noticed, you're number 1 in the UCN Llamas League, and I am Llama.
Oh, yeah, you go. Yeah. So UCN was the University College Northampton was the uni I went to, and we had the Saturday team. So we had like the normal football 11s. And then the Saturday team was like all the 11s put together into one team that played in the local combination league on Saturday.
Cool.
And so that's like all the old boys in there, really. But yeah,
no, good stuff.
You can be on remember.
Good stuff. So Matt, do you want to quickly ask Seb then James's question now that he's managed to get it in? Although he's done it in 2 paragraphs.
I was going to say it's a thingy one. It's a like raw one. Bina will know it better than me. I think I know what it is. But he says, so if I have 4 defenders in my team, right, and 2 of them have not played, on my bench in the number 1 spot I have Son, the number 2 spot I have Souček, and number 3 spot I have Chilwell. So the question is, will I get Souček come on for me?
No,
he won't. He won't.
No.
He'll get Ben Chilwell and Son, won't he?
Because he has to field at least 3 defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye, because that's what he's then saying, because I'm not sure if the team will allow for 2 defenders to be on my team, as in James and Zoom will not play, so will Ben Chilwell in sub-position 3 come on before Souček at sub-position number 2. Which is, because you have to...
so you get Chilwell and Son.
Yeah, because you have to play a normal, in quotations, a normal team, basically.
Yeah.
However, I think, as Seb had mentioned earlier, and we're all aware, the midfield players that we've got to pick from this season, it'd be great if you could just play 2 at the back and then just litter your midfield. I'm sure a lot of people would go in that.
We would have if they hadn't taken the all-out attack chip away like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Those good old days.
Definitely. So Seb, this is your team, and for those that are listening back on Spotify or any of the kind of podcast stuff out there, you have lined up, as you said, this week with a 4-4-2, Fabianski in goal there, gained you a point. You've got a back 4 of Robertson, Cancelo on 17, James and Stones at the back there with 6, a midfield with Salah, Gundogan on 14, a Fernandes captain and Rafinha on 13, and then up front 2 of Watkins and Bamford, and as we've just heard, Watkins sitting comfy now on 5 and Bamford there on 1. So your team is looking pretty solid. And then on the bench, as we know, you have Souček's 15 points just sitting there. Kufal on 1, Brewster that's just your third bench, isn't it? It's there for funds. Yeah. So, as I say, quite solid, I would say your team is. But have you got any kind of plans for the next game week? Anywhere that you're trying to get to?
I'm sort of. I've got 8 million in the bank, so I do need. I'm not this guy that thinks you have to spend it, but I know that I can't leave that money there. Like there's better uses for it. So the obvious one is Brewster because he's just not going to work out, is it? So he was always an enabler. He's never really started for me. So the players I'm thinking I want to upgrade at some point is Brewster, Rafinha, and James, and Fabian, and both my goalkeepers really. But you've got to look at priorities. So the priority for me probably right now, even though I've got Brewster sitting there, I don't need to. I can still, but I'm happy playing a formation with 2 up front because I think there's so many good midfielder and defensive options for the next 2 or 3 game weeks.
Yep.
I don't really mind playing forward. But I've got those 4 defenders. The one thing I could do, but if I needed to raise some money, I'd do James down to someone like a Matty Target, and then I would use the money to upgrade Rafinha or one of the strikers, right? Yeah. But because I'm really worried about James long term now, I just think that Tuchel guy or Tuchel, however they say it, he's going to rotate a lot, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm just not really interested in Chelsea players at the moment, other than like short-term punts. So I think I probably need to get rid of James, but I can just bench him because I've got plenty of cash. So I'll probably quite happily just play Souček and Rafinha. Or realistically, the guys I want somebody from Spurs, and I probably want Jack Grealish back at some point because even though he doesn't ever go crazy, just watching Villa without owning Grealish is so painful because he's just everywhere. And there's a chance he'll be back. He'll be on pens now because El Ghazi's out of the team. I don't think Watkins will get him back. There's a chance it goes to Barkley, but I think there is also a chance that Grealish comes in. The only thing to be aware of with Grealish, obviously, is that he's still on a suspension tightrope for another 2 games because Villa have got games in hand. They haven't reached the magic 19 number to get reset. So Grealish, but I probably wouldn't bring him in until at least then, just because I just feel like such a knob if I brought him in and then he got booked. Whereas, I'm probably going to have to take a hit to bring him in. So I'm not going to probably do that. And I've got Watkins. And I think Villa are great. And I don't know if I want double Villa attacking.
So I'm probably Traore at all. He's a bit of a budget option. He's doing quite well.
Probably not, just because if I want to go Villa, I want Grealish. And I've already got budgets in Souček and Rafinha that I want to move away from. Yeah. So I'm probably just trying to get Spurs, get Grealish, sit tight. If I can, get some money out of the goalkeeper situation because they rotate nicely, but I'm not overly bothered about having 2 goalkeepers to rotate long term. It's just a headache I don't want every week.
Yeah.
But for the moment, I'll happily do it just because money isn't an issue. So I'll probably do what I've done now, and then I've got my wild card left. I'm probably going to wild card around the next double game weeks and then figure it out then. So I'm just sort of ticking over till then, I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, fair enough. No, as I say, you're doing Sterling this week, like as in how your management skills are performing up there at 38,000. But did you just look at your live rank?
Yeah. So with Ollie Watkins' goal, I'm now at 17,000 now currently.
Jeez.
Because it's currently got me getting Souček off the bench because Reece James isn't playing. So currently it has me at 17k because if Souček comes off the bench with Watkins' goal, Watkins is on 8 now. Has he got an assist? Oh, he's down to get bonus currently. That's why.
I was like,
the excitement. Did you hear the
excitement? Basically, that's a bit of a fake rank, really, because there's a lot of hypotheticals there. Like Reece James is probably going to come on for a point. Watkins might not get the 3 bonus, so it'll probably be somewhere. So the new rank on live FPL pre-auto subs is 32k. So that's probably more realistic where it'll end up.
That's still good though.
I'll take it.
Exactly. Got to be happy with that. I remember when I was 323 in the world a couple of seasons ago, and I just like with yours, I just pure shot myself. I was like, that was
it's so hard. Like,
I just started looking at stuff that I wasn't even looking at before. We've spoke about it before on the podcast. Like, I do look at some stats, but not like in depth or anything. But when I hit that rank, I thought, I better start looking at stats because I'll get even better. And it just blew my head, So I just went back to just.
I think I call it the Darren Bent syndrome, and it's relative to all types of activity under pressure, right?
Right.
So you can apply it to golf, you can apply it to playing football, you can apply it to FPL.
Right.
So basically, it's 2 types of mindset. There is the need to achieve mindset, and there is the need to avoid failure. So Darren Bent at Charlton was, give me the ball, I'm the best player in the team, I'm the goal scorer, I'm going to win us the game. I want to achieve. He got a big money move and went to Spurs, and he switched to, I don't want to screw this up mindset. And he got tight, his finishing was awful. There's probably better real world examples now than this, but this is when I formulated this little mini theory that I started applying to golf. So I would apply it to golf in that, if you have a birdie putt, or if you have you hit a really good shot in for birdie, you're like, don't waste this good opportunity. So what I used to do if you had a bogey putt, you're like, oh god, don't mess this up, or a long par save putt, don't mess this up and drop a shot. I would tell myself, I've already dropped the shot, this putt's for birdie, and it makes you switch into the need to achieve mindset and not the need to avoid failure. And the best example of that for me was when I won the first Trilby Tour event. I had 2 putts to win the tournament on the 18th green, and the TV, because it's like an amateur golf tournament, the TV producer comes over and he says, right, we want you to just tap this one up to the hole. We want you to mark it and then tap in after. And I'm like, whoa. Like, what? Like, I've got to cut this still, yeah? Like, you're coming over telling me, this guy wasn't a golfer, obviously. I'm like, in the moment to win the biggest golf tournament of my life, live on Sky Sports, if I mess this up, you're wanting me to think about your fucking TV show.
Wow.
I was like, and I got so angry.
Yeah, no wonder.
I was standing over that putt. It was a downhill left to righter. I was standing over the putt thinking, don't miss this. Like, don't three putt. He came over, said that, and I got so pissed off. I was like, fuck you, I'm going to make it. And I made it as a one putt.
Yeah.
So literally, he shifted my mindset. And that's when I started thinking, like, what was it about that? And I've come up with the Darren Bent syndrome. And I think that's like FPL. You're at a high rank. You're like, don't screw this up. Instead of thinking, when you're chasing, you're like, right, let's make the right decision, make aggressive.
Yeah.
If you're playing well, my belief is that you back yourself. Like, if you're playing well in golf, don't screw it up. You're playing well, just let it happen. Let it go. You're in a good position for a reason. Don't get in your own way.
That's so good.
Spurs bought you for a reason, Darren. Go and do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way of looking at it. I still can't get my head around that though with Sky Sports. That's crazy. I mean,
Crazy, right? Yeah. Imagine them doing that to Rory. Imagine doing that in a pro event.
Yeah.
Rory would be like, get out of it.
oh, dear. Seb, what an absolute privilege and honour it's been to have you in alongside us this evening. On behalf of Boona, Matt and I just want to say thanks very much.
Time's flown. What the
Time has
fuck,
flown. Honestly, I glanced at I've just literally glanced at my watch and I'm like, no danger. It's like 20 to 7. I'm like, eh? It just like
Just in
goes.
time for Reece James to come off the bench and ruin my evening.
well, let's wrap things up before that happens, shall we?
Thank you, guys. It's been really good
But
fun.
no.
Good luck with your game weeks and the rest of your season. And I'm getting ready for an inject later on tonight. If Reece James stays on the bench, there's going to be syringes flying around everywhere.
I'm in Twitter jail, mate. So if you follow me, you might get it via
Have you
DM.
actually?
If you don't, yeah.
What is that all about? I thought you were just joking.
I used the C bomb, and someone took offence to it.
Boona. So
Fucking
you've actually
cunts.
been put in Twitter. You've actually been put in Twitter jail.
Yeah.
Have you got one sweat yet? Because you live on your...
Okay. Crazy. So just before we do go, Seb, I'll you know how I had to put myself in that whole deafen mode. I'll need to do that just for a minute while I put the end music up and stuff. But I'll just jump into Discord again just to say thanks to you after, in a minute's time, so to speak. So just before we go though, again, if people don't know where to find you, or if there's anything that you want to promote or bring up or anything, please do so. Now, that would be much appreciated. Go and sell yourself, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm at Seb C Brown 4 on Twitter and Instagram, or Seb on Golf on YouTube. Mainly golf stuff. If I do anything FPL, it normally is on Twitter, so that's probably the best place.
Thank you very much. Do you not want to say anything about the Breaking the Net documentary this week?
Oh, tomorrow night, big hashtag United documentary. Yeah, documentary episode 1 goes live on the hashtag United YouTube channel, probably around about 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Excellent, brilliant, good stuff. Thanks very much for that, Seb. Boona, do you want to say anything to Seb in the chat before we go?
Seb in the chat, or Seb as in Seb with us?
Yeah, Seb and our chat.
Okay, no, Seb, mate. Honestly, I don't know where time's gone. It's a bit weird. These streams usually feel a lot longer than this. So, appreciate you joining us, mate. And I really, really hope that Reece James comes off the bench in the 91st minute.
That is why
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Matt, what about yourself? Do you want to say anything to our Seb and our chat before we disappear?
It's like the other two said, and I mirror it. It's mad how quick time has flown, and it like Boona said, it normally feels a lot longer than this. So lovely to have you on, mate, and hopefully you come back on soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Be a pleasure to. Thanks for having me.
Don't be a stranger. The lounge doors are now open.
Oh, there it is. There's the cliched phrase.
Yeah. Guys, girls, hope you've enjoyed yourself this evening as much as what we have. As I say, it's been a privilege and an honour having Seb alongside us. Take good care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of this game week. You know where to find us. The links have all been in front of you all evening. And if you don't mind...
Just before you end this, remember who we're streaming with tomorrow. Make sure you give that a little plug. Before you do that, I just want to let you guys know that we're in the midst of... I'm in the middle of arranging another live Q&A get-to-know with the current 25th and 4th in the world as we talk. So that's going to be quite interesting. Yeah. So friends through friends. So it's all pretty exciting. Hopefully next week and the week after we'll have those two booked in.
Bloody hell. All right then. Well, there you go, folks. Tomorrow evening we are back. So you've got, not only have you got the Breaking the Net documentary coming to you tomorrow, you've got us coming live with none other than Redditor. Redditor is over 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. Loves his FPL, and he is joining us tomorrow round about the same time, 5 o'clock. So if you're not up to anything, by all means tune in, and then we'll go and all watch the Breaking the Net documentary together tomorrow.
Cool.
Until then, take good care of yourself, folks. Please do like, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Much appreciated. Take care, and we shall catch you soon. Cheers for now.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Better sounds no one ever heard. I wish I had a better voice to sing some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that was new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what